Hello everyone, welcome to Achievers IAS classes. Let's begin our discussion on the current events of 6th April 2018. The first issue in news is regarding the ongoing arguments in the Supreme Court in the Aadhaar case. Recently, the Supreme Court has pointed out that the Aadhaar Act could allow the state to seek even DNA, hair, and semen samples as biometric information in the future because of the open-ended language of Section 2G of the Aadhaar Act, which defines biometric information as photograph, fingerprint, iris scan, or such other biological attribute. The Act does not specify what the phrase other biological attribute means, nor does it prescribe any limit to biometric information, thereby giving the executive authority the power to expand the meaning of biometrics through an administrative order. Further, the court countered various arguments of the government, like the government contended that Aadhaar would prevent money laundering, bank frauds, and tax evasion, which the court countered, saying that Aadhaar was not a panacea for every crime, and bank frauds was not only facilitated by perpetrators with multiple identities, but due to lack of diligence on part of the banks and corruption by the bank employees. Next, the court questioned the government's logic that Aadhaar mobile phone linkage would help tackle terrorism and also challenged the government's argument that right to food, employment and medical care can supersede the right to privacy. On the argument that Aadhaar would help to combat poverty, the court pointed out that the gap between the rich and the poor was widening, with 70% of the wealth lying in the hands of mere 1%. We'll further look into this issue based on the final verdict of the Supreme Court. Till then, let's look into the next issue, which is regarding a 10-member committee recently instituted by the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting to regulate online portals, including news websites, entertainment sites, and media aggregators. The committee will include secretaries of various government departments as well as the CEO of the website MyGov and a representative each of the Press Council of India, which we know is the regulator of print media, and the National Broadcasters Association, which is the regulator of visual media. Given that both the print media and electronic media are regulated by the bodies which I just mentioned, online media does not come under any regulatory mechanism. Therefore, the ministry has set up the committee to look into regulation of online information dissemination, propose a policy for foreign direct investment in the media, and finally, to look into the international best practices on such existing regulatory mechanism. With that, let's move on to the next issue, which is an editorial on the recent decision of the Monetary Policy Committee to keep interest rates unchanged, thereby retaining its neutral stance. As we know, price stability is a priority for the Monetary Policy Committee, and the trendline retail inflation continues to run above its medium-term target of 4%. As we know, the RBI has the responsibility to maintain inflation within a band of 2 to 6%, and the recent bi-monthly monetary policy statement ends up sending mixed messages in this regard due to various factors as cited by the RBI for lowering its inflation projections, mainly the sharp decline in vegetable prices, moderation in fuel group inflation, and an assumption of normal monsoon. In this regard, the risks associated with the deficient monsoon as well as volatility in oil prices cannot be ignored to maintain inflation within range and prevent any unforeseen events. Further, the RBI has also decided to shift from the gross value method of calculation of GDP to the gross domestic product method to measure economic output, thereby giving a confused picture of the Indian economy in the short to medium term. Let's just look into why the RBI decided to shift from GVA method to GDP method. While the GVA method gives a picture of the state of economic activity from the producer side or the supply side, the GDP model gives the picture from the consumer side or demand side. This is in conformity to international standards and is also the approach followed by various multilateral institutions, international analysts, and investors, thereby facilitating in easy cross-country comparisons. Also, the CSO has started using GDP as the main measure of economic activities since January this year. With that, let's move on to the next issue, which is regarding actor Salman Khan getting a 5-year jail term in the black buck poaching case. What is important from the examination point of view is the black buck is a species of antelope protected under Schedule 1 of the Wildlife Protection Act. The black buck is classified as least concerned by the IUCN and is the smallest Asiatic antelope. Its habitat includes arid plains and hills, grasslands and desert areas, dry scrub and light forests, which is the same as that for the nilgai. Further, it is found across western and central India, extending through Pakistan, southwestern Afghanistan, and into north central Iran, with the Thar Desert of western India remaining a stronghold of the species. With that, let's look into the other issues in news, which is regarding the misuse of private user data on Facebook by a firm called Cambridge Analytica. In the wake of the scam, the Indian government had issued a notice to the firm questioning whether any Indian user's data was accessed by it without their consent, for which Facebook admitted that data of over 5 lakh users of the social media platform in India may have been accessed without their consent. For further details on this issue, please go back and watch the monthly current affairs roundup of the previous month. With that, I wrap up today's news analysis. Do share this content if you like it. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.